Hello and welcome to another Seeds of Flourishing video. So following on from last week's where I went through some tour programs, I thought it would be interesting to flip through and just reminisce about the early 80s with particular reference to this magazine, Kerrang. So I was an avid reader of this, and I actually still have each issue up to the 50th issue. I kept all of those, and I managed to buy every week for the first 50 issues, and then after that my interest fell off a bit really. So we have in front of us number one here. And prior to this, I still was actually, but in tandem with this, I was an avid reader of sounds. I think most people back then that were into rock music, into heavy rock, into heavy metal and into punk tended to read sounds. The two magazines I probably read the most were Sounds and Melody Maker. I didn't really read New Music Express that much, but certainly Sounds was my go-to weekly music magazine. And at some point in 1981 this appeared on the shelves. So you can see number one, June 1981, and I think this was before the days of them giving the months way ahead of when they were released. So I think this genuinely did come out in June of 81. And one thing I tie it to is in 81, around this time, I just started work. So I think I bought this probably with my very first earnings, which I suspect were somewhere in the region of, I don't know, £40 a week maybe. Used to get paid weekly. And also where I worked, which was a laboratory attached to a manufacturing plant making diagnostic kits. We used to get luncheon vouchers as well. Hardly enough to buy anything meaningful down the pub in terms of lunches. I think we used to save up about a month's worth of luncheon vouchers, and then we could afford a sausage, egg and chips, something like that. Maybe. I'm just trying to think how much we got a day. But maybe we could, maybe used to save up to the end of the week. Anyway, I digress. This is about Kerrang, not about the value or lack thereof of receiving luncheon vouchers in a wage packet. So I'm going to just flip through these and just comment as the mood takes me. Of course, this was great because back then, no internet. Internet was, another 81, another 10 years at least off. So of course this is how you got all your news about music, particularly if, like me, you liked like hard rock, heavy metal, punk. There wasn't many places outside of the music press where that was covered. We had the Friday Rock Show, which started in November 78, I think, and I discovered it in 79, and that was another way I sort of stayed up to date. But then when this hit the shelves, everything I needed to know about hard rock and heavy metal was contained within. As you can see, it's a little bit short on full articles. There was an awful lot of pictures. I imagine a lot of these ended up being pulled apart for the posters, maybe. And of course I do appreciate that quite a lot of this information may well be lost on my viewers, as looking at the demographics, I imagine there's quite a large percentage of people that watch this who may not have even been born in 81 possibly. Oh yes, I was a member of the Angel Witch Coven for about a year. I remember receiving a little button badge, an Angel Witch sticker, and a reasonably regular supply of a hastily put together newsletter. I should see if I can dig out some of my old patches and stuff of bands. That would be an interesting video. Now this was an interesting section, the Strictly for Connoisseurs. Of course, at that point, the only way of listening to any of this stuff was going out and buying it. And of course, even though I just started work, didn't have a lot of money. And so I had to be pretty selective with what I bought. So I wasn't buying this old stuff. But I keep meaning to go through these older issues and check out some of this stuff. So this is basically trying to get people into pre-Nawubum, because 81, new wave of British heavy metal would have been in full swing. This was always really cool. I love these family trees by Pete Frame. I actually have a book of these, which sadly, at some point when I moved, one of my moves, I can't believe I got rid of it. It just got mislaid. But I had a whole load of a nice big, large book with loads of these in. There was a BBC or something on UK TV where they had a series of these they went through, rock family trees. And again, this was the only way you really got to see band timelines. You know, now I can hop onto Wikipedia and check out timelines. That's really cool. I'm just going to stop there. The back of this is rather falling to pieces a little bit. I think I've got some personal information at the back there as well. I think I filled out a mail order for a t-shirt, never ordered one. That was amusing as well back in the day. You know, it's like the only way you could buy stuff was by mail order, and there were various ways that they advised you to send money in if you didn't have access to a checkbook. So there were ways in which then people wouldn't realise there was money in the envelope. Of course, advertising a lot of the big gigs there. I remember this one, I didn't go to it, but the one this is at Port Vale, Black Sabbath headlining with Motorhead and Triumph and Vardis. I think I may have mentioned where you saw it in a previous episode. Actually, I talked about it in the one on tour programs, where the first live gig I went to was Judas Priest. I'm pretty sure it was at the end of 81. And it was for the Point of Entry tour, whenever that was. Oh, Monsters of Rock. Now this would have been... this was not the first Monsters of Rock, because for the first Monsters of Rock, Rainbow were headlining, and I do actually have some vinyl with certain, selected recordings from that. And there's the fan club directory. Yeah, fan clubs were a little bit hit and miss. At some point I did join the Iron Maiden one, and that was really good quality. And I remember one of my brothers joining the Twisted Sister fan club as well. Oh, another Strictly for Connoisseurs. Yeah, I need to check some of these albums out. I've never listened to them. I've listened to the Blue Cheer album. Filthy Phil. Another family tree. Rainbow there. KK Downing. Music, Milton Keynes. I wonder if this was before the Diamond Head. Yeah, so their first album was only available by mail order. So I'm assuming this may have been around the time, yeah, that the Diamond Lights EP was just about to come out. So I think their first album on a major label hadn't been released yet. There's a Pink Floyd discography there. Again, another way in which, if you're not acquainted with the band and don't know somebody that knows a lot about them, how you check out the back catalogue. Of course, the other thing was, what was it called now? Was it Record Collector magazine? Oh, there was a crossword. And the letters page. Now, Somewhere in a Moment was one of my favourite sort of list of top albums. I think it's maybe the next issue. Oh, see, there's a discography of Whitesnake. I didn't get to see them until a lot later, as you saw from in the 2000s. By then, quite a different band than they were around this time. Oh, Blue Oyster Cult. This always makes me think of the sixth form, because there was, I stayed on a year, and the stuff that always got played in the sixth form common room was Rush, 2112, and a couple of Blue Oyster Cult albums. Oh, there's a, I don't know, what lineup would that be? So yes, this would be, that would be Killer's Era, or thereabouts. Diana's still in the band. Tour of the States. You can see that Adrian's in the picture there. So. Oh, Excalibur. Yeah, I remember that coming out. One of my favourite films. And where the band Anal Nathrak get their name from as well. In that summoning that Merlin uses. And is it Morgana manages to find out about through deception. Oh, another Strictly for Connoisseurs. Angel Witch. They were probably one of, yeah, probably my favourite in the Wooburn band at the time. Oh, had a bit of a crack there at the crossword. Yeah, this is the one, all-time top 100 HM albums. And Spider, they were like a little bit like Status Quo in some respects. Similar sort of musical style. Shinka. Oh, yeah, heavy metal motion picture. There we go. Space Ritual by Hawkwind, just bubbling under. Of course, most of the stuff there, by today's standard, would be considered to be more sort of hard rock. Pat Benatar. Yes, the middle pages have definitely suffered here. Yeah, Philip Lewis of Girl. So I had their first two albums actually. Of course, one of the guitarists from Girl went on to be in Def Leppard. That's a pretty cool one on Hendrix. Demon, their first two albums. Yeah, I really need to go through my OG vinyl collection. Record collection. Okay, number 5, we're halfway through. This could be a longish video, but I make no apologies for that. You'll see a lot of bands getting repeated here. Now that would have been Rock Goddess. That would have been the original lineup as well. This is almost like a Where Are They Now section. Armed and Ready. I don't know if Palace is still going. Like a prog band. Lumped in with bands like Marillion at the time, and I'm trying to think who else as well. Was it IQ? I think they were referring to it as neo-prog. But again, they were lumped in with the whole Nwubum movement. Iron Maiden this time. More tall stuff. Yugoslavia. YNT. Mr. Hagar. Oh, of course, Rush. Yeah. A big Rush fan. Jimmy Bain. Oh, and there's Wild Horses, of course, his band that he had after he was in Rainbow. Tides of Pantang, REO Speedwagon, Budgie. There's quite a few Stevie Nicks posters in here over the years. And an interview. I'm trying to remember when her solo album came out actually. Right. Yeah, I remember buying Narita. Oh, and there's Ozzy. Diary of a Man Band era Ozzy. So where did we get up to? This is December of 81 now. You notice there was a little bit of repetition week on week. There's a status quo. Family tree. You can see that one, not a lot of variation in there. They still had a pretty stable lineup by the time this magazine went out. So It was more good, better for more gooder, um, better for finding out some of their earlier stuff. Oh, that must have been a still from Hot Rocking, the one where they set Rob Halford's boots alight and then he couldn't get them off. And was in a lot of pain. Yep, first Scorpion albums, Lonesome Crow, Michael Schenker, before he joined UFO. I believe it was the tour to support that where he was co-opted by UFO, because they just got rid of one of their guitarist, or they'd left. Nope, Motorhead. Yep, the Kiss the Elder just been released. More Tigers, more UFO. Of course, Dave Brock, Hawkwind. Yeah, I was lucky enough to see them in early, the early 80s. So after I'd seen Judas Priest at Crawley Leisure Centre, there were two other bands that I saw there. One was Motorhead with Tank as support, and the other was Hawkwind. And I can't at the moment remember who supported Hawkwind on that one. The support for Judas Priest was Accept, which was really cool. Oh yeah, that's right. I think the support for Hawkwind was a band called Bronze. What do we got now? Boys to Cult, first album. Oh, Black Widow, Sacrifice. Led Zeppelin, When Butterfly. Girls' School. Big into them at the time. Unfortunately didn't get to see them live. Number 8. Oh, they had a poll. I forgot about that. Angry Anderson from Rose Tattoo. Now, was this the year that Slade... Oh, so there, yeah. 1980. So... No, this is a few years ago then. Yeah, so Slade stood in when Ozzy cancelled Reading in 1980, and they went down really well, and off the back of that ended up with a second sort of career for a number of years. Oh, Status Quo, AC/DC, because obviously this period, when Kerrang came out would have been 81, so that was after was it Back in Black was released in 1980. So this was after Bon Scott had died and Brian Johnson took over. Oh yeah, I was pleased when they published this UFO back catalogue. Did it go back to their space rock days? Oh yeah, it does mention them. Yeah, 2 early albums and the live album. Mick Bolton, that was it. That was their original guitarist. UFO 1, UFO land in Tokyo, which is the live one, and then wasn't there a UFO 2 as well? Maybe that was a live album. Yeah, maybe that's I'm getting that confused in my head there. Yeah, a studio album and a live album. Pink Floyd, Vangelis, Alan Parsons, Emerson Lake Palmer, Bartley James Harvest. Is that Venom I see up there? Possibly. Oh, so this was, yeah, this is about independent labels. Heavy Metal Records, neat. What was the single? Oh, Let It Rain. So that would have been what, Mechanics era UFO, I think. Yeah, all your badges and your pendants and your stickers and stuff like that. Oh, thing is it? So this would have been Snowy White era. UFO Mechanics. Watch out for the Don Dokken album. Indeed. I'm trying to remember when Breaking the Chains came out. I have that on vinyl. One Voice at a Time. Crocus. Yes, I remember Metal Rendezvous, which is previous to that, very well. That's one of my early vinyl purchases. And Brian Robertson now. So yeah, that would be Wild Horses era. At this point, he hadn't joined Motorhead. He was in the band for like one album after Fast Eddie Clarke left. Girls' School. You can see they're running quite a lot of adverts for Mechanics in these issues. Scorpions. So that'd be Martha Stewart's era. And finally, oh, there's the ad for Renegade. Loaf, Crocus. And again, you know, this was the only way I could find out about like bands' back catalogue, because I was curious about, you know, the recordings before Metal Rendezvous, although I didn't end up tracking any down. Oh yeah, Blackfoot. I think I have the... Which albums do I have? I might have Strikes and... Is it Marauder? Motley Crue. I'm trying to think when the first album came out. Actually, Motley Crue first album. Oh, there it is. That's funny. Too fast for love. So where are we? 1982. I could have sworn it was earlier than that. Is that Bruce? Yep. So all change with Iron Maiden. Oh, UFO on the road. Oh, yeah, I remember this. Oh, funny. Stars, Pat Travers. Oh, Wishbone Ash, New England. Yeah, that's how I think I bought some unusual compilation album, which was the first couple of albums. I can't even remember what it was called. But I really like tracks like Throw Down the Sword and I'm trying to think of the other ones now. Anyway, I remember seeing this ad in here and buying New England. So this would have been, was it Laurie Wisefield era? Not sure. Yeah, replaced Ted Turner, that was it. And one of the guitarists played a Flying V as well, which was always super cool. And there we go. Bon Scott era AC/DC. And Cheap Trick. Yeah, I may have said I was pretty aware of Cheap Trick before buying this magazine. Me and a friend at school, and they joined the school in 1980 for the sixth form, and we used to have certain times of the day where we didn't have a lesson, and we used to go back to our form hut and listen to, was it Tokyo Tapes, and what's the live Cheap Trick album called? Live at Budokan. Yeah, Tokyo Tapes and Live at Budokan. Every week. So yeah, that brings back cool memories seeing that. Wow. Yeah, that would have been, what? Yeah, 80 into 81. Yeah. Wow. Oh. Yeah, Iron Maiden were always good for buying like picture discs. That's the word I'm thinking for. They were always good for picture discs. I should dig out as well. I should do a lot of things. I should dig out my early Iron Maiden singles. I've got a few from around the time of what would be Killers into Number of the Beast, I think, around that period. Yeah, somewhere around that period. Anyway, thanks for indulging this flip through of old Kerrang magazines. It went on for well over half an hour. Hopefully it was entertaining and somewhat engaging. Thanks for watching. Bye for now, and I'll catch you in the next video.